views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning this morning. Welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It's Thursday, the 6th of June, 2024, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene. It's the Thursday preceding Labor Day Eve, and we've got lots to talk about this morning. We are talking all things labor. I've got some sports, tiny little bit of sports today. I'm so sorry we missing our sports segment because of the holiday tomorrow, but I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy, well, I was about to say everybody's going to enjoy a public holiday. But that's not the case. Because for some of us, in fact, for many of us, public holidays don't really mean anything without a strong labor movement. Bahamas is tourism heavy. And so many of our citizens work through public holidays because we invite tourists, foreigners to come and celebrate our public holidays with us. I mean, we invite them to celebrate every day with us, but on particular public holidays, many people are actually working. And this doesn't necessarily benefit them if they are not receiving time and a half, double time, triple time for the sacrificing their public holiday to work. And then there are those who are entrepreneurs. They are businessmen. They are self-employed. And so every day is a working day, and public holidays can be problematic for the bottom line unless entrepreneurs, self-employed people learn how to take advantage of public holidays and turn them into making more money days. So we're going to be talking about labor. I'm expecting a call from a guest. I couldn't make it in studio, but you know, every Labor Day parade is accompanied by a Junkanoo rush. And I think the Junkanoo realm is a great space to explore and interrogate labor movement, labor rights, the status of workers in the Bahamas, the systems that workers operate under, the rules, the regulations, the policies, but more importantly, the culture of work in the Bahamas, the culture of work in the Bahamas. I stand to be corrected in this very moment, but it's my cousin Finlayson who developed the concept Junkanoo in the workplace. And that's after a lot of interrogation, observation, assessment of the role that Junkanoo plays in our collective lives and the function that it could have. It's more than just a commemoration, more than just a celebration, more than just a party, but it's a space where we can devise, create new policies, new structures, new ways to work in this particular jurisdiction, in this country, in this particular culture. So I await my guests to call in, and I tell you, I am a little concerned. I don't know how many Valley Boys coming out to Junkanoo tomorrow morning. That part don't matter to me. What matters to me is that Valley Boys come out to Junkanoo tomorrow morning. I think that's very important for all of us. So let's go through the Randall Fox Labor Day Parade Junkanoo lineup quickly. First out the gate, Genesis Warhawks. Second out the gate, Valley Boys. Third out the gate, One Family. And fourth out the gate, the Saxons. The Saxons. So, again, I await my guests to join us to talk a bit about that. The numbers to call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720 for our Family Island listeners. That's toll free. The text line is always 422-GR96. That's 422-4796, powered by BTC. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you. Joining me on this phone call right now is Mr. Trevor Davis from the Valley Boys Group. Good morning,
yes,
sir.
I'm happy to be here this morning as we one day before the Labor Day parade. And, you know, Labor Day in our country, like you said earlier, is a staple. And, you know, without labor, where would we be and who would we be? So I'm happy to be sharing this moment with you and your special guest this morning.
Thank you. You are my special guest, just for this moment.
when I say special guest, sorry, your listeners.
Yeah, they are the special guests. But the Valley Boys are a special guest, right? They are an important part of this cultural expression, of this experience. And I don't think we could do another Junkanoo without the Valley Boys. I don't think
Well, the country will not be doing any Junkanoo without the Valley Boys. The Valley Boys has been here from 1958, and the Valley Boys will continue for so much more years and beyond. And hence is the reason why we're going through a little crossroad. We have our little internal issues, but at the end of the day, when we come out, we'll come out strong and we'll come out united, and we will be a force to reckon with as we were in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how many Valley Boys coming out to Junkanoo in the morning?
Oh, well, we had practice last night at Centerville Park. And, I mean, the park couldn't hold the people. And, you know, and so if all those persons who was out there last night, plus the ones who didn't have a chance to show up because of work or any other reason, turn out tomorrow morning, we're expecting to see more than 80% of what we did on the Boxing Day and New Year's Day parade. So if you ask me a number, we well into about the 500. I know we had 450 paraphernalia came in, and we completely out of those.
Oh, that's
and
good
so
stuff.
We excited about the parade, and we will be there.
What my Junkanoo uncle say? He said could be 100 million thousand Junkanoos on the road. We can't.
Yes, and we invite all our fans to come out and be a part of this special rush. I know a lot of persons are eager and wondering what is going to happen since so much been in the social media, been in the news lately. But I must say that we are united. We will continue to try and unite the group from where I stand. And, you know, there's some things that we need, some interventions that need to have, but that's, you know, for another day, another conversation when it comes to the governance of the parades. I'm sure what we would have spoke about earlier, it's going to open a lot of eyes to persons to see that, you know, even though things might have not been done right in the past, we're not dwelling on the past. Now is the time to go and correct and apply a proper governance to a lot of stuff that we realized that wasn't happening. And so, you know, we're very optimistic that Junkanoo still has a space, and culture still has a space in the hearts of all Bahamians. And, you know, one of the most important things for me as a Junkanoo, I always wanted to see Junkanoo export to the world because, you know, someone always says to me, this is the greatest show on earth. So, you know, at some point, I think we need to let the whole world know how blessed we are other than just sun, sun, and sea. But we have something that's called jungle, what we all love.
Well, I want Bahamians to know how blessed they are because we have something called Junkanoo and that we can extract and experience the value of this thing that we do because within the Junkanoo space, there are many models that can be used and adapted to create better working models, right? Better employment models, better structures for workers and laborers. I think the Junkanoo space is the prime space. For example, I want to ask you, how many hours roughly do you think has gone into preparing for just this Labor Day parade?
Well, but, to be honest with you, you can't count. Over the years we have tried to count the hours, man hours to go on any parade, and you just can't add up the hours because there's so much different moving parts in Junkanoo. You got to worry about the people who are dealing with just the drums. We have somebody that's taking care of all the drums. You have to worry about all the brass that goes to practice two times a week, and it's different from the regular group practice. They have their personal practice. And then when you factor in all the time that the persons who work in the night, that day in the shack in the day, to try and put a time limit or to say a time, how much hours go in, I haven't came up with a formula. I don't even know if anybody has came up with a formula as yet. And so hence is the reason why, because of all the time that it takes us from our family and from work sometimes, that we are trying to put the governance in it so there can be some kind of reward at the end of the day. When I say reward, it doesn't have to even be monetary reward. It could just be the appreciation award at the end of the day. So that's something that with the way, as we move and as we grow with the Valley Boys, we're going to definitely look at how we're going to see how best we could say this is your worth. This is the time you put in, and this is your worth for the time you put in. And so there's a lot of changes coming as the Valley Boys continue to go through this phase, and I'm so excited about it, and a lot of the members are excited about it. You can see from the practice last night, we welcomed so much, what I want to say, the older members who would have stood out from the parade for whatever reason, happy to have all of them back. A lot of them showed up last night. And so this is the time now when, everybody's finding that we are back to their roots. You have a lot of people coming back, a lot of people that start to be appreciated and feel appreciated because I want to say it's a new day, not only in the Valley Boys, but in the Junkanoo world itself, because I say and I go on record and say the Valley Boys has been the pace setters from I joined this organization 45 years ago, and we're going to continue to be the pace setters. We're going to make some changes. We're going to open some eyes, and we're going to create opportunities.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the members of the Valley Boys and putting in the effort to ensure that the organization remains together, resilient, strong, and prepared to help us grow Bahamian culture. Now, what time does the rush out typically start?
Well, that is determined based on what time the actual the unions finish, and immediately after the unions make their presentation, I think we have a few of the political parties will come in immediately after that. So it normally starts anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. We'll be ready to go down Bay Street.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Trevor Davis, and thank you to the Valley Boys organization. Last question before I let you go. Y'all like new things, which is cool. You bring a new theme, a new look every event, not just the main Boxing Day and New Year's parades. What can we look forward to from the Valley Boys this year?
Unity is strength.
Okay, that's the theme. Unity is strength. I love it.
Unity is strength. Yes, unity is strength. That's the strongest, weakest link. And, at this time, like I said, it's no secret we're going through something, but at the end of it, we're going to come out resilient. We're going to come out strong. We're going to come up with fresh ideas, and we're going to continue to move forward.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. That was Trevor Davis, a member
Thank you for having me.
The Valley Boys organization. I see you tomorrow.
I'll look for you on the parade.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day. On another note, on road, good morning to the Bahamas Roadmasters and the 23 members of the Roadmasters Club that recently completed the Rio de Janeiro marathon. That was June 1st and 2nd. Producer, let's go to that call. Also, Bahamas Roadmasters Running Club wants to remind you that Midnight Madness Run is tonight. It starts at 12:01 a.m., a minute into Labor Day, and they are asking all participants to be there by 11:30 for the warm-up to ensure that you have all of your road safety gear on and you have all the details to start the event. That's 12:01 a.m. It's going to be a good day. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin, Greene. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, sir. How you do?
This is Mr. J.
Hi. Morning.
Listen, I was trying to catch my dear interim chairman, Mr. Trevor Davis, just now, but it's just because he's probably still listening. And I am a part, Marvin Johnson, a part of the way forward.
Okay.
Because, like he said, we have some internal problems, and we're going to sort them out, especially under his leadership. He's an honest man, honest businessman. And I would like to reiterate some of the things that he said by saying new innovations is correct because, like he said last night, they brought in almost 500 T-shirt caps and towels. And Erin Greene, to be honest with you, I've been a part of the Body Boys now from the late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And other than Gus Cooper, no chairman or no committee has ever given us stuff like the group members, paraphernalia and stuff, free.
Mm-hmm.
The other administration, you got to pay or scrap together to organize your stuff. And Mr. Davis' administration, he just come in and he's giving back to the group members. We are registered. The cards that we have are registered. We can go to certain stores, present that card, and get a percentage off your purchases and stuff like that. So I just wanted to call to say he's already making changes. The shack that had no bathrooms, but from we built them, they're going to put bathroom because, like he said, they have women and children around those shacks in the night that have to relieve themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say he's making some early strides so far.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, darling.
Absolutely. Like I say, I think the Junkanoo space is one of the most valuable spaces that we have. Because if anyone knows how to organize labor, it's the Junkanoo space. My brother Finlayson, producer, correct me if I'm wrong, is Spence Finlayson Junkanoo in the workplace? Right, the other brother that developed Junkanoo in the workspace because he saw the value, right, that the Junkanoo space can provide to us, the organizational culture, right, the commitment, the discipline, the self-control, all of these things, and then the spatial awareness to be sort of cramped up in a tight space, but everybody to be able to produce what it is they're supposed to be producing. It's a great, great space for us. Coming to the text in a moment, I just want to take this moment right here for a moment of silence. Today is the 6th anniversary of the tragic event that claimed the lives of 4 union members participating in the 2018 Randall Fox Labor Day Parade. I want us to just take a moment to remember Kathleen Rogers Fernanda, Tabitha Hay, Diane Gray Ferguson, and Tammy Gibson. All 4 women were committed and devout unionists and Bahamians, workers, family members, mothers, sisters, aunties, grandmothers, cousins. And we know they are missed by all of their loved ones. All right, I'm going to go to the text line. Text just says, oh boy, Russia coming to seize the Bahamas. Does Russia have a warship large enough to put a key on? Yeah. I want to see somebody try and pick up an island and put it in the Georgie bundle. They wouldn't even be able to get through customs. Good morning. Did Mr. Fred Mitchell mislead Parliament yesterday by saying this is my 32nd consecutive budget debate? I don't know. We need a political historian in the House. I may have to find Dr. Chris Curry to join me to answer that question. I don't know, Texter. And even if he did, does that warrant an investigation? Or is it just a signal that Mr. Mitchell has had a long and lengthy political career? He may be reaching Biden status at this point. Good morning. Water was off on East Bay Street from yesterday and is still off. Businesses are suffering. Water and Sewerage is not answering their phone to give us an update. Water and Sewerage people on East Bay Street in business sections are without water for a number of hours. And it's difficult to organize your labor without the basic infrastructure available to you. How do you organize a business if you can't rely on, and how can you organize your labor if you can't rely on the most basic services like water, electricity, and communications? So let's go into a little bit of labor history. Sir Randall Francis Fox was born on March 20th, 1924. He was a Bahamian politician, trade unionist, and lawyer who served as a member of parliament for the St. Barnabas constituency. He also served as a cabinet minister in the first Pindling government for a short period. Fox is referred to as the father of labor in the Bahamas for his efforts in establishing the trade union movement in the country. Producer, we could go to the phone line. In 1961, he successfully passed a bill through the House of Assembly that established Labor Day as a public holiday. He advocated for the Bahamas to have a Labor Day as he thought a day should be set aside to celebrate the workers who ensure the progress of the country. The day has been observed ever since then. Fox's contributions to the trade union movement in the Bahamas were so notable that Queen Elizabeth knighted him in 1978. Sir Randall Fox sadly passed away in the year 2000, and to honor him, senators passed a bill in 2013 to rename the Labor Day holiday Randall Fox Labor Day. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Greene. Just let me answer a quick trivia with Fred Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Fred Mitchell has served in either the House of Assembly or the Senate since 1990, when he was appointed as a senator by Mr. Hubert Alexander Ingram. It was perceived then that he was an F&M senator. When it was sought to remove him as senator, he sued and had himself declared to be an independent senator and continued either as an MP or as a senator for the last 32 years.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right.
Absolutely. Bye. Now, I'm going to have to call you my political historian.
Just observer.
Well, it's important to know these things to get a better understanding of what's happening around us. I got a text here say, ask your audience, which is more Bahamian? Is it Labor Day Beach or Labor Day March, which is the more popular celebration of Labor Day? Participating in the march or celebrating on the beach? Continue to read. Members of political parties and the labor unions from different organizations march in this large parade through the streets of downtown Nassau. The parade then ends at the Southern Recreation Grounds, where speeches are given by the union leaders and local politicians. As recently as 2020, Sir Randall Fox received the, I'm sure I pronounced that incorrectly just now, received the posthumous award for the Order of National Hero in the National Honors Awards, the nation's top honor. I'm going to read from an article I found, Reform Series Trade Unions, 31st of May 2023. Today there are several trade unions operating in the Bahamas, representing workers in a range of industries. The majority of unions fall under umbrella organizations such as Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, the newest Trade Congress, National Congress of Trade Unions Bahamas, that's NCTUB, and Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, that's BTUC. While the trade union movement in the Bahamas has faced its share of challenges over the years, it remains an important force for workers' rights and social justice in the country. According to the Department of Labor, this article was written 31st of May 2023. According to the Department of Labor, there are currently 29 registered trade unions in the country representing over 23,000 workers. The three main congresses, National Congress of Trade Unions, Bahamas, NCTUB, Bahamas Trade Union Congress, BTUC, and Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, BNATUC, which is the newest of the congresses recently created. So I have some questions here that I wanted to put to some union leaders that I was hoping would come to studio this morning. They are not here, and that's okay. I would like to know, and I think the Bahamian people would like to know, what is the labor movement's, the collective, well, let's start here. Who are the official voices of the labor movement? Who are the official voices of the labor movement? I have official voices in parentheses. Who is the government listening to? If we remember and find this lovely article here, 31st of May 2023, NTCUB says good riddance to unions that broke away. National Congress of Trade Unions Bahamas acting president Sherry Benjamin said yesterday the Congress is better off without the affiliates that left to form the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress. Quote, "We will march on and we will remain strong," Benjamin said. Here's an article from the 26th of May, 2021. Solidarity, PLP signs workers' agenda with NTCUB and TUC. The PLP yesterday signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Congress of Trade Unions Bahamas and Trade Union Congress Bahamas on issues the party intends to address should the PLP win the upcoming general election. During a joint press conference at the BCPOU Hall, NCTUB President Bernard Evans said the umbrella unions drafted a workers' agenda that outlines the needs, concerns, and expectations of workers and presented it to each political organization, including the current administration. That would have been the Minnis administration at the time. Evans noted, however, that only the PLP, in opposition, responded and was willing to endorse and sign the document. PLP leader Philip Brave Davis insisted that the PLP government, if supported by all unions, will support workers' rights. Quote, "We have committed ourselves to looking into and solving those issues for the benefit of the common good," he said. He noted that the party has reviewed the workers' agenda and, quote, "find favor with the spirit and intent of the provisions," close quotes, and is prepared to demonstrate their support by signing it. At that time, that would have been the first time since the Pindling-led government in 1967 that a political party had signed an MOU with the workers' union. Fast forward to August 27th, 2021, unions at odds over deal with PLP. 9 affiliates of the National Congress of Trade Union Bahamas, NCTUB, yesterday lambasted the NCTUB's recent signing of a memorandum of understanding with the PLP, calling it, quote, "disingenuous action," close quote, that was not done on behalf of the majority of the umbrella union's affiliates. The leadership of the NCTUB yesterday rejected the claims made by the unions. On Wednesday, the NCTUB, which represents 21 affiliates, remember, this is an article from 2021, August, that represents 21 affiliates, and the Trade Union Congress signed the MOU. The affiliates said they were not involved in the signing of the document and said they had never seen it. The affiliates said they are not aware of the contents of the MOU, which has not been tabled, discussed, or ratified by the NCTUB. I'm going to stick a pin there with some of the questions I wanted to ask. What is the current state of the labor movement almost 3 years after signing of the MOU? Is the PLP living up to the commitments made in the MOU. Should any of the Congresses should they have signed an MOU with a political party? The impact of the Bahamas, another question I wanted to ask, the impact of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress on the labor movement, given that it appears that the BNATUC was created after disagreements on the MOU or what was contained within it could not be resolved, and another Congress was formed. But what has been the impact of these two actions? The signing of the MOU between the Trade Union Congress and the NCTUB on the labor movement generally and on their Congresses specifically, and what has been the impact on the labor movement of the creation of this new Congress, BNATUC. I also have some questions that I think should be a part of a national discussion. And I'm hoping in future years that the Labor Day parade, the Labor Day celebration expands beyond just the parade and march, but begins to include opportunities for the general public and union members to engage in discourse with union. Call right back, man. Sorry about that. Call right back. To engage with union leaders and, when necessary, with government officials about labor issues. So here are some of the issues put on the table, and I think this one in particular is in today's papers. The government recently, as I think up to yesterday, day before yesterday, announced a new payment structure. I'm going to read from the article in today's Guardian. Davis defends government's public sector salary review plan. Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis yesterday defended the government's planned $10 million salary review for the public sector, while bashing the Free National Movement for spreading, quote, baseless news, close quotes, about the administration's decision to allocate funding towards the process. Well, I tell you what, my eyebrow raised itself when I saw the line that said $10 million allocated for the salary review. Not for salaries, but for the salary review, and I guess we just need more clarity. Davis first announced the initiative in the House of Assembly last week. The announcement drew criticism from FNM Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands, who questioned how the money will be used. Second headline, unions not asked over pay date move. Government says salaries will now be paid out every 2 weeks. So not just the salary review, but this new pay structure. I'm going to read from this article in the Tribune. Union heads berated Prime Minister Philip Davis yesterday for announcing that public servants would start having their salaries paid every 2 weeks, insisting they were not consulted and that the plan may have been ill thought out. Bahamas Public Service Union President Kimsley Ferguson and Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson expressed shock and disappointment at the announcement. During his contribution to the budget debate in the House of Assembly, Mr. Davis announced several reforms for the public sector, which he said would, quote, revolutionize, close quote, the administration of payments for government employees. He said these include introducing electronic salary notifications. Now, why would I need an electronic salary notification? The only reason I would need an electronic salary notification is if you paid me before the determined pay date, or you expect that you will be paying me after the determined pay date. Trust me, I don't make much money, but I know when it's supposed to be in my bank account. online job applications and bi-weekly salary payments via Cloud Bahamas, a project launched by the government in May to digitize the public service. Quote, bi-weekly salary payments mean that our employees will now be able to be paid every 2 weeks, close quotes, he said. Quote, this will allow for more frequent paydays. Does more frequent paydays amount to more money? More frequent paydays, which will almost certainly support employees to improve their cash flow. Now, when you use that term cash flow, what exactly do you mean? Will you paying me every 2 weeks make more money flow? Or are you trying to suggest that people will be able to better budget and manage their income if they are receiving it bi-weekly? But we're going to stick a pin because at a later date, we're going to consider the implications of that. It seems like the same political culture exists. You identify a problem, you, the state, identify the cause of the problem, but refuse to acknowledge it and refuse to improve the systems that you are responsible for that cause the condition that people are experiencing. As opposed to fixing the things that you are responsible for fixing, you once again attempt to force a poorly constructed solution onto people without even consulting them. I continue to quote from the Prime Minister. Quote, this will allow for more frequent paydays, which will almost certainly support employees to improve their cash flow. This in turn will hopefully shield employees from high-interest consumer loans in order to fund everyday expenses. If people are resorting to high-interest consumer loans in order to fund everyday expenses, that signals an economic and finance crisis that you, the state, are responsible for leading the initiative to resolve. Nonetheless, Mr. Ferguson called the announcement, quote, haphazard, close quote, while Ms. Wilson said she was, quote, taken aback, close quotes, by it. Quote, this has not been a well-thought-out process as to how this is going to adversely affect public servants by making this decision, and hence the Bahamas Public Service Union and unions at large are not going to sit by and allow the government to do these things, close quote. Mr. Ferguson said, adding that no studies had been done to determine how people in the country or region would be affected. Ms. Wilson said, quote, how will it work with the persons on medical leave? Has the banking leave days been adjusted? What about deductions for loans and mortgage payments? Do you know that the new Oracle system has already had many glitches as teachers try to enroll? They were able to see other individuals' personal information. Mr. Prime Minister, you're now touching the workers' money. This idea of biweekly salary payments must be reviewed and revised, and I'm urging you, sir, to meet with the unions. Mr. Davis said the change in payments would help small businesses, quote, which rely on the uptick in economic and financial activity fueled by government workers. So what you're saying is you're making it easier for people to spend their money with businesses? Is that the sort of economic or financial help that the average worker needs? Mr. Ferguson, however, said while he wants businesses to thrive, it, quote, cannot be done by sacrificing public servants, close quotes. Quote, it's disappointing, it's disrespectful, close quotes, he said. Quote, this particular administration apparently has been having a disregard for things agreed to in the various industrial agreements between unions and the government, and they're doing what they feel like without consultation, close quotes. Mr. Davis said the government's Cloud Bahamas project would also address other issues facing government employees, such as long-term pay discrepancies and employee accountability. However, Mr. Ferguson said he knows little about the project or how it works. Quote, somebody called me and indicated that employees now have to input information into a system, close quotes. He said, quote, I heard that there are employees who have been trying to get online to do these things forever. And not only that, this adds insult to injury. These people have placed a deadline on the fact that if persons don't get in, they won't be paid. They are looking for a national riot in this country, close quotes. Last week, Mr. Davis announced that public sector salaries would be reviewed because they are too low. The administration has budgeted $10 million for this review. Mr. Davis said this money would be used to compensate hardworking employees, not for a private company to perform the review. Hold on. What do you mean the money, I imagine parts of the $10 million that has been budgeted would be used to compensate hardworking employees, not for a private company to perform the review? Perhaps what you meant to say is we will create the team required to do this review from internally, from within the public service, and we will pay them for their effort. This is too ambiguous. Money. Now, mind you, this is not a quote. This is not a quote. Reading from the article in today's Tribune, unions not asked over pay date move. Mr. Davis said the money would be used to compensate hardworking employees, not for a private company to perform the review. Quote, if we do not offer salaries at competitive rates, people will not want to work in the public service, he said. If we do not offer salaries at competitive rates, people will not stay in the public service. Salaries must keep pace with inflation and be at a level which is competitive and fair, close quotes. In a statement over the weekend, the Organization for Responsible Governance questioned how the salary review would be used to, quote, support the increased effectiveness and efficiency of government services, close quote. I want to go to the two paragraphs before the last one. Quote, this is Prime Minister, if we do not offer salaries at competitive rates, people will not want to work in the public service. So is the $10 million for the review, or is the $10 million part of going to be allocated for the salary increases? Is the $10 million just for the review itself, or does this $10 million also include the monies to be paid to employees once their wage increases? There's too much ambiguity, not enough clarity. I wanted to read the whole article, and I will tell you why right now. When I read this paragraph, he said these include introducing electronic salary notifications, online job applications, and bi-weekly salary payments via Cloud Bahamas. What does that mean, via Cloud Bahamas? Are you introducing the sand dollar to the public service pay policy? Are public service workers about to receive their salaries in sand dollars? Who is Cloud Bahamas? Are they designing a system for you? Is a company designing a system, a payroll system called Cloud Bahamas? And again, how much of this $10 million is for the purpose of conducting the review? And why, Prime Minister, did you offer these words? If we do not offer salaries at competitive rates, people will not want to work in the public service. If we do not offer salaries at competitive rates, people will not stay in the public service. Salaries must keep pace with inflation and be at a level which is competitive and fair. Of course, I was not at the press conference, so I don't know why this story was constructed in this way, but it leaves me to ask for clarity on those particular matters. The text says, Erin, you are wrong when you say that people getting high interest loans is a result of the economy and the government. The issue is that Bahamians live beyond their means, develop bad credit, and some women like to have too many children. Man, text, you lost me. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. Have too many children they can't take care of. Let's have a real conversation about self-responsibility and accountability. Can't blame the government for that. I'm sure I didn't blame the government for that texter. I'm going to go back to the article. I'm going to quote from the Prime Minister. This will allow for more frequent paydays, which will almost certainly support employees to improve their cash flow. This in turn will hopefully shield employees from high interest consumer loans in order to fund everyday expenses. So I didn't say the government is responsible for people getting high interest loans. I said that that's an indicator that the government should see and then respond to. It indicates that it's a greater social issue at play, and it may be a greater socio-economic issue at play. Another text, you can rest assured that the last thing this biweekly change is geared to do is help workers. I would not be surprised if this is yet another texter. I'm not going to read that sentence. We know how the other suggestions like price-controlled categories and 1,000% rise in voting registration went. This is just another, and I'm going to insert these words here, thoughtless government initiative. Texter, that's too controversial for me to say. Hey, hi, Erin. I don't know why it's a problem. It's the same thing. You don't have to withdraw your money biweekly. Just leave it until end of month as usual. It's no difference. It may be no different for some people, but it's definitely different for other people. I think that's the point that Mr. Ferguson and Ms. Wilson were making, and that's the point that I am making as well, that I think greater consultation is necessary. Greater consultation is needed. For example, is it possible that some people could get paid bi-weekly and some people remain on the regular pay schedule? Is that possible? I think it's possible, but I tell you what. Remember the response to why is VAT on everything? The response to why is VAT on everything was because it was easier to implement the VAT system by putting VAT on everything. So when the government was being celebrated for the smooth and easy rollout of VAT, they then turned around and told us, yeah, it was easy because we just put VAT on everything, which made the tabulation and the calculation and the government side, that made that part easy. It made everything worse and harder for ordinary Bahamians, but it made everything run smoothly. And I suspect in this instance, eventually we'll hear in response to that question, why can't we have some people being paid on a regular monthly schedule and some people being paid bi-weekly? Because it would be too difficult to implement the system. We have to do it across the board. You see, to the texter, the government responsible for that. And this is what's happening. In every sector, every issue that arises, when the government devises a solution, the solution ignores the state's obligation and tends to focus on the citizen and ends up, it results in a limitation or restriction of rights and makes every process more difficult for the Bahamian people. I got, 2 minutes left to go, so I'm going to run through the rest of these questions. Is the NCTUB better off without the affiliates that left to form the BNATUC at the end of May 2022? What is the current membership of the NCTUB and the Bahamas Trade Union Congress? How many members remained after expressing displeasure with the Congress? How has this, quote, rift, close quotes, impacted the labor movement as a whole? And what were the issues at the root of the conflict? And again, what is the current relationship between the NCTUB, Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, and the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress? And I guess a part of that question is answered because it seems there are only representatives from the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress responding to this issue of a new pay structure. Anyway, I wish I'd had some union people to talk to this morning, but I tell you what, these conversations will take place with or without you. I didn't get to ask you if the union to Parliament pipeline is still pumping. But I will end the show with this disclaimer. I think it's time that we, the people, put a petition to the government. This is what it is. No more Fergusons in the union. We've hit our quota. No more Hubert Alexanders in politics. We hit our quota. And maybe it's time to say no more Wilsons in the world of finance. Maybe we hit our quota. I'm just putting it out there. It was great talking to you this morning. Stay tuned. Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri is up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.